Welcome, everyone. This presentation is tips and resources for families new to the U.S. school system, the public school system. And this is an elementary school presentation, so this is geared primarily for families in grades kindergarten through fifth grade. My name is Lorna Gilmore, and I am part of the Issaquah School District Family Partnership Team. My job is equity and family partnership. I'm a specialist, and I'm going to have Ina introduce herself to you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Ina Gangurdy. I am one of 3 family liaisons that work in the district. We support families in any way that's needed. And so if you have any questions, we are especially supportive of our families who are new to the U.S. public school system, as well as maybe just are new to the country or the state or the city, and just need a little bit of help navigating our system. So at any time, please feel free to call on any one of us, and we would be happy to help you.
So one of the reasons the Family Partnership Liaison job was created in the district was because we recognize that our district has many culturally diverse families, and our diverse families, especially Issaquah, Sammamish area, Newcastle, it's up to 33% culturally diverse families. And because they are diverse, sometimes they're unfamiliar with the school system because the parents had not attended school in the US. And so as a result, we make sure that we're helping those families understand, because we do not want to have those families experience barriers to education. So it's also to make sure that it is an inviting environment and that families feel supported. So parents very often feel very hesitant and nervous about contacting teachers. And so sometimes it's more accessible when they connect with the liaisons, makes them feel, I don't want to say safer, but just sometimes working with teachers and administrators can be nerve-wracking for some parents. So just to make sure about that. So I am actually just realized that I hadn't started sharing my screen. And so here we go with screen sharing. There we go. So the family partnership liaisons, we just talked about it, and their liaison cultural brokers. They connect. They can also help families with resources. We just supported the ISD Back to School Resource Fair last week, and so connecting with resources, helping them understand free and reduced lunch, how to get classes, maybe sometimes for adults. Sometimes they talk about what resources are available in the district if you have to pay for yearbooks, or in secondary school, some of the other needs that students have at schools. So those are the kinds of connections that we can also do for our families. So on the district website, which unfortunately I am unable to connect, it says the district website is down. We can try it again. But the district website has our page. This is what our page looks like. On our page, you can go to the resource page, and it has a lot of our previous presentations, including this presentation from last year. It'll have some other presentations, and we usually, any of our presentations, we post there. So you'll be able to find our presentation here. All our events that we do are also posted here. So for example, in November, there will be a parent-teacher conference. And if you're curious as to what that looks like, what you need to do, what you can do to prepare for it, you can try that and see. You can come to our event in October to prepare and get ready for that a bit more. So I'm going to test and see. Oh, this works. Here we go. So on all the schools' website, I know this is a high school, so let's try elementary school. So on all the schools' websites, there's a section that says who to contact. So one of the feedbacks we've gotten from our parents in working in this job the past 7 years is parents often say, things are happening and I don't even know who to talk to, who to ask for help. So there's a handy dandy link that we created called Who to Contact. And this link will help you figure out if it's an attendance problem and depending on what kind of issue it is, who to contact. Now, this is middle school and high school and elementary school. So there might be some links that don't pertain to you. For example, Canvas, but Clever does. Class schedule really doesn't because your child doesn't have a class schedule. You only have one teacher. But the one, for example, I found useful as an elementary parent was sometime bus routes or dispatch. The bus is late or the bus is not still at the bus stop and it's like been 10 minutes over and you're trying to figure out what's going on with the bus. The numbers and who to contact are over here so that it can help you. Okay. If you have questions about fees and fines, who to contact, lunch balance, lunch information, all of them is over here.
That date needs to shift out.
But you can also contact the liaison if you're unclear about this, and they can help you with that information. Okay, so issues and concerns, same thing. Sometimes parents have an issue or a question and they're just wondering, who do I talk to? How do I solve for my problem? Every single website is built the same. So if I show it to you on Cougar Ridge, it's going to be the same for Clark, Challenger, Endeavor, any of the schools. So again, under families and community, you can see there's a link for who to contact, issues and concerns, meals, which is your lunches, the PTSA, all of the different connections are right here under the families and community. Also, if you look at over here for the before and after school care and buses, we'll talk more about that as the presentation continues because that's one of the big questions families have. So the school district and district calendar. If you go to the school district's website, so you notice that there's a district website and then all the schools are on a different tab. So note that a lot of the information will be on your schools tab and the schools tab links to the district tab. And the district tab has a lot of links, especially about curriculum, transportation, meals. And so the district tab, you'll be able to find the direct links for that information. So if you go to the district tab, you will see that there is a section called About Us. And under that section for calendar, you'll find the district's calendar. And what my husband loves about this page is it very often posts future calendars. So if you're planning a vacation next year and you plan on sticking around in the Issaquah School District, he has all my vacations and my kids' vacations. I also have 2 children in the Issaquah School District posted on here. So, and just a background about me, my children both went through Issaquah School District, K-5 school district, and now they're in middle and high school. And I have been working in the school district for 24 years. My first 15, I was a science teacher at Issaquah Middle School, and now I'm in this role. So the district calendar isn't also in multiple languages, so that's very helpful. But I print this out. In the olden days, we used to send this to all the families so they could have this on their refrigerator. But I still print it out and keep it next to my computer just so that I am planning and I know what to expect. So for example, you're not surprised in October when you realize that there's a no school day on October 18th. Also, there's a no school day on November 11th. And for elementary school students only, there are no school days on November 12th and 13th because it is elementary school conferences. We'll talk more about that later, but I just want to show it to you on the calendar, okay? So all of these important dates are on the calendar. And the school year is divided into 2 grading periods. Your child will get a grade of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not letter grades. I grew up in India, very different. We had finals, we were ranked, big tests to study for, lots of testing and studying. Nothing like that here. They take assessments, but there's no ranking, and their grade is a 1, 2, 3, 4 by meeting standard or not meeting standard. But the semester will end at the end of January, but no stress. That's not going to be a high time to study for tests or anything. And then the second semester, of course, will end the last day of the school year. So when you're planning vacations, when you're planning doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, if at all possible, try to schedule around that so that your child does not miss too many school days because even if they're young ones, sometimes missing a couple days of school can impact their learning. The other great thing is the schools. Now, that was the general big calendar, the school year calendar. So now we're going into what's going on at the school, and you're trying to figure out, oh, I wonder when this event is going to be, or what's, looking for different dates at the school. So every single school has a page called upcoming events. It's a great page for you to look for if you're trying to figure out, oh, is there a concert for the second grade, or is there conferences coming up or curriculum night coming up or something. So all of them, again, all the schools have the layout is exactly the same. So under our schools, you can look under upcoming events and you will see the upcoming events for that school. So you can see Meet the Teacher on the 28th, which by the way is every single school has Meet the Teacher on the 28th. However, every school might have it at a slightly different time. And they might also have different grades meeting at different times or different letters of the alphabet meeting at the different times. So that information is there. It talks about the first day of school, first day for kindergarten. Note there's a different first day of school for kindergartners versus all other students. So if you have a kindergarten, keep that in mind. A big one for me, I put it on my calendar, is school picture day because I want to make sure I know what my kids look like as they're going to school so that like the photo that they've taken. So that's something to keep note about. Of course, if they just had a bad day, there's always retakes, which also will be posted in the calendar. And the calendar can be seen in this list form as well as in a calendar format. So this is a good link to use on your school's website. So the school's website is very, very handy. Also, before I forget, I just want to make sure when you look at the school's website, all of you note that the school's address is there, the telephone number to call the main office is there, the fax, the email so that you can contact the school registrar if your child is absent, the office hours, and all of that information is over here. So there's a tremendous amount of information for all the schools, and it's posted on their website, which also links to the district site. So as I said, Meet the Teacher is the 28th. And so look for the specific time on the school website, or you should be getting a district bulletin that comes every Monday, or the school's bulletin, which comes out every Thursday. So tomorrow, be sure you're looking for an email from the school. It will be your school's bulletin, and it will have this information on it. Again, Thursdays, schools bulletins all arrive on Thursdays between 4 and 6. So make sure you're getting it. If you're not getting it, make sure you sign up for one. Every single family who is family 1 and family 2 should automatically be receiving it. You can sign up your grandparent or your babysitter or your nanny if they're interested in keeping up with the school schedule. But you as a parent should automatically be receiving these emails. The Meet the Teacher is a great way to meet your teacher, obviously, but also to meet other students at the school and sometimes connect with other parents. At the end of Meet the Teacher, sometimes some of the PTSAs will have an ice cream social or have some popcorn or have some kind of activity on the playground, which again is a great way to meet with other families on the playground. And I see that I have a typo in here. The teacher assignment will not be posted on Friday. It will be posted on Wednesday, the 27th by 4 o'clock. Sorry, it will be posted on probably by Tuesday. So I need to double check that day. It usually comes out on Fridays, but because school is starting this year on Thursday, it's going to be slightly off. So we will update that information. But in your school bulletin tomorrow, it will also tell you when to look for this information. And then you can go to Family Access and find out who your classroom teacher is. So they usually don't post that until only like a day or two, usually before the Meet the Teacher. So usually it's going to be the day before, so it'll be August 27th. Also, your child should be getting classroom supplies, supplies for the class, and that in many of those supplies you're going to take with you in a paper bag most likely, and your teacher will have different bins, different containers, maybe a space at your child's desk, and you will leave those supplies in the classroom. Um, and those of you who are wondering what are the classroom supplies my child should be getting, that information is under right there. So under academics, you will find a tab called supply list. I believe I'll talk more about that later on. But here is the supply list for all the students. And so then you know what you should be getting. And once you have it, you can take it to your meet the teacher date. So again, kindergarten families, note that you will not be starting till later on, Friday, September 1st. And then no, sorry, what is that date? It's the 4th, right? We haven't updated the slide. Friday, it's September 4th. And what day is that on September 4th? September 4th is the Wednesday. September 4th is a Wednesday. And so during August 29th to September 3rd, those days are for kindergarten to fifth grade family, for first grade to fifth grade families only. Kindergartners start later. All elementary students will have a meet the teacher, a parent teacher conference in November. And those conference days are November 12th and November 13th. On those days, it's no school for students. It's a parent teacher conference day. Only fourth and fifth grade students are usually invited to attend those conferences because they usually do student-led conferences during that time. So check with your teacher to see if it's a student-led conference. We will be doing an event for families to learn more about parent-teacher conferences on October 15th, and there'll be a link if you want to sign up for that event. Families can call, email, or ask to meet with a teacher at any time of the year, but the conference date is the only date that there's specific time where the teachers and parents will meet. The other times will be based upon request from the parent. So sometimes some parents have lots of questions. What is a school district? All students who live within a certain boundary are eligible to attend certain schools in the district. And all students who live within that boundary are eligible to go to school. It's a public school. So we've had parents in the past ask, will my child be accepted? Will they be eligible? And the answer is yes. If you live within a boundary area, you will be accepted into our school district. If you move though, and you no longer are within the boundary of a certain school, you will be asked to withdraw and you will be asked to move to the other school. So it is hard because sometimes this might happen in February, March. And because the schools are so overcrowded or so crowded, especially the high school and certain elementary schools, they usually don't allow for moving if for you to stay within your school. This year, the district has opened our school to, so you can apply from other districts or other school areas to go to a school, but it depends on if the school you're applying to attend has space and is not filled up with the capacity. The next thing to know is when you are ready. So if you're a child or a fourth and fifth grade child, you don't need to worry. Your child will automatically be moved to the middle school of your feeder pattern. So we have something called feeder patterns where certain schools, elementary schools, go to specific middle schools to go to specific high schools. So if you bought a house in the area, you'll have noted that in your realtor list, it'll say what schools you'll be attending, and it has all the elementary, middle, and high school. Just FYI, every now and then some boundaries are reassigned, so that might change. But for example, 3, 4 years ago, my children went to Pacific Cascade and then to Issaquah High, but our boundary was changed, and now we go to Issaquah Middle School, and then we'll go to Issaquah High. So sometimes boundaries do change. Also, in some schools, it's not 100% of the students attend the next one. So if you're at Issaquah Valley, certain addresses will go to Cougar Mountain and other addresses will go to Issaquah Middle. So it's like Talus and some areas go to Cougar Mountain, and then the Issaquah Valley, more for downtown kids who and the Squawk Mountain children usually go to Issaquah Middle. But you can look at the map, the attendance map, to find out, or you can talk to your child's registrar. They can tell you what your feeder pattern looks like. Now, all of the schools have a SAGE program, and SAGE is one of the highly capable programs. The Merlin program is only based at Apollo and Endeavor, and they don't have any transportation. We also have another program. It is a lottery-based program, and the emphasis or focus of that program is science and technology. And those magnet schools are located at Briarwood, Cascade Ridge, and Clark. And if you have a child in third grade, you can apply for this lottery, or you can complete the form, and then your name will be put in a lottery. And the magnet school is for fourth and fifth grade only. And again, that's you apply at the end of third grade. If you're coming in as a fourth grader and we're interested in that, I can show you the website where you can get more information, and it's on the district web page. And if you go to programs and services under highly capable, you will get a lot of information about the highly capable program. Under this page, you will also see something called new student referral. Now, some of you, because you're new to the school district, if your child was not in the school district in second grade, or if you're now new and your child is in third, fourth, or fifth grade, if you think your child should be in the highly capable program, because your child started this year and they're now a third, fourth, or fifth grader, they wouldn't have been tested for the program. Because in the Issaquah School District, every single student is tested for the highly capable program in second grade at the end of second grade. So if they did not take the test, you can still complete this form called new student referral, and application and evidence has to be turned in by September 15th. And the information, there's the application here, there's what you need to do is all here. And so you need to please make sure you follow the instructions over here so that you can see if your child is eligible to be placed in the highly capable program. More information about the highly capable, about the second grade universal testing, all of that is on this page, and it's frequently asked questions are on this page also. And the link to this page will be in the slide deck so you can get more information. But if you're going to want to look for it before that, it's going to be under the school district, and it's under programs and services, highly capable. So the classroom environment, this is one of the things that many of you are curious about. What does the classroom look like? So here are some pictures of the classroom, and also showing you what small group instruction looks like, what the reading groups look like. Honestly, for me, coming from India, this was all brand new. And so my classroom was a very traditional classroom when I went to school. And so seeing my children do small group instruction, or going to the carpet and sitting on the carpet as a teacher did a lesson or did a reading for them, was very new to me. So I know it's a curious difference, but the kids love it and they get very used to it. The small group instruction is a great time for teachers, not some, but for all the teachers to work in small groups and do targeted instruction for that group of students based on their needs. So they do frequent assessments throughout the course of the school year, and the small group is to identify what the gaps for that child is, and then specifically address those gaps in the small group instruction. So it's a great system to make sure that you're filling holes. So rather doing a big class instruction where some kids might be lost because they don't, especially in a math lesson where they're not understanding something, then they can do targeted instruction. And they also do whole class lessons throughout the year. So the interaction with your child and the teacher could be a one-on-one interaction, as they might be working on some kind of reading instruction, assessment, or the interaction would be whole group, or it could be a student choice. So very often the teachers might give students some options of activities they can do, and they just need to make sure they complete those tasks as they progress through the course of that segment of lesson time. Now, we talked about school supplies and the supply list. I showed you where to find it under academics, and some supplies are dropped off at Meet the Teacher, and other supplies are stored at the student space at the student desk. So when you go to school, you'll see that the cubbies are labeled, the desks are labeled, everything is labeled for the child. So your child has a very specific seat and space in the classroom for their backpacks, for their supplies, for all that they need. And very often students have a folder called a take-home folder that the teacher will make for them. That is an important folder. You should check that folder every day. If you don't get to it every day, at least every Friday, because the teacher will send out things or evidence or lessons that the child did in class or communication through that folder. It's a great way the teacher sends information or communicates with parents besides emails and their classroom newsletters. Usually they'll send a newsletter either every Sunday or end of the week before the week begins, or a couple times, but twice a week, twice a month. Okay. Now, the student's daily schedule. The teacher will share this on curriculum night, and it's also posted in visual format for students in K1. So it's little pictures of reading and writing, because, little ones sometimes can't read the schedule, but it's posted for the students, and the students have 2 recesses and 1 lunch period and 1 specialist class. Then that's the most common schedule. Now, the word specialist, it threw me off when my daughter started school. And then I had to realize that specialist basically means it's their PE, their music, or their library time. So 1 time a day, they will either go to a specialist, and could be music, reading, or library. On Wednesdays, and this is a big thing, on Wednesdays, it is an early release day. So all Issaquah School District elementary students only are released early, and that's approximately 1:30, 1:35. I believe it's 1:35. The kindergarten students, so just keep that in mind. For families new to the school district, it sometimes is surprising, and they forget that their kids are going to come home or be on the bus early to pick them up. So just make sure you have set your alarm on your, if you're new and this is different, a reminder on your phones that your child is going to be on the bus at a different time on Wednesdays, or you're to pick them up at a different time on Wednesdays. The teachers use that time for planning and lesson creation, and just meeting with each other to collaborate. Now, kindergarten students have a purposeful playtime daily, and your kindergarten teacher will talk more about that during your kindergarten teacher meeting. Okay, so the 29th, 30th, and then 3rd of September, you will have a meeting. Just one of those days, you will have about a 30-minute teaching meeting with your kindergarten teacher, and the kindergarten teacher will go into more details about that.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. I got an email about it being on the 28th. Is that not happening? What is that
I
meeting
believe
then?
you're talking about Meet the Teacher.
Right, right.
Yeah, so Meet the Teacher is not the kindergarten teacher meeting. So Meet the Teacher is going to be about a half an hour time where every single kid is from the class will be there, and they'll be dropping off school supplies, hi bye to the teacher, very quick. Okay.
Oh,
It's not really a real meeting. It's just a quick check-in. Elementary, some kids, might look around. It's just to get the kids to be less anxious and have a
okay.
first time visit with a classroom. and it calms them down, especially in 1st through 5th grade, so they know what to expect. They know where their desk is, things like that. But in kindergarten and kindergarten only, there's a one meeting before school starts, and this is actually a requirement by the state of Washington. It's part of a program called Walk Kids, where they are requiring the kindergarten teacher to meet with the kindergarten child's parents to get to better understand the child so that the kindergarten teacher can be ready and best support the child. And so
Awesome.
they'll ask you some questions about prior learning, best learning styles. And then you can ask questions that, it's your first year in the school. So you, I'm sure, have many questions about learning, curriculum, and so forth. So it's a good meeting and chat to have with the teacher at that time. So that's different uh, than meet the teacher is one,
Got it. Got it.
okay,
Okay.
K5, and then that other meeting, which is only for kindergarten parents. So on
Got it.
specialist days, thank you for asking. And specialist
Sorry,
days,
just a follow-up question. Sorry to interrupt you again. Sorry, just a follow-up. I haven't got any email about that. Will we be getting an email with the invite or
it's
uh,
because the classroom teachers have not been assigned to parents.
got it.
And
Okay.
so that usually happens the day before Meet the Parents. So Meet the Parents is on the 28th. So around the 27th, when those class lists are released, they'll start sending those announcements.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And so going back to specialists and paraprofessionals. So me as a parent, even though I had been a teacher in a public school for nearly 12 years before I had my children, I was still very confused when I heard the word specialist teacher, and I told you there's music, PE, and library. When your teacher shares the weekly schedule with you, please make note to write it down somewhere what days your child has PE. Because on PE days, your child is expected to wear PE appropriate shoes. So no sandals, no goulashes, no, shoes that they're not going to be able to run around in the NPR room or the gym. So make sure they're wearing appropriate tennis shoes. In general, if your child is going to go out in the playground, they don't like a lot of flip-flop sandals type. There are school shoe policy for safety reasons in elementary school. And the district elementary handbook is on the website. We can refer that to you also if you want to look at details. The students may also refer to the lunch, someone as a lunch teacher or recess teacher. And those two are not teachers. They are actually paraprofessionals. They are not certificated teachers, but they are assistants at school. And they're ISD employees who have been trained, and they support school teachers and school staff to supervise the lunchroom, the playground, and they sometimes work in kindergarten. They will work with small groups of students, maybe to review and do some lessons with them. In kindergarten, there's usually another adult, a paraprofessional, who supports the teacher because, again, it's kindergarten. So look at your child's schedule so you know what day your child has music and library. Library day, they're absolutely going to love. They're going to come home with all these books and just read. It's their favorite day. But many kids also love their PE day, but the shoes are the big thing for PE day. School website, as I said, has the upcoming events, school announcements that email to you also. Emails are sent weekly with updates. So again, Thursday after evenings between 4 and 6, look for them. And then we have something called Clever in elementary school, and it's a learning management portal. And teachers very often post information in Clever. You can talk to your teacher at curriculum night to find out how your child will be using Clever. There's no expectation that your child accesses Clever, this learning management portal, at home. The expectation is that your child will be accessing it at school, but Clever does have a lot of apps. So when my child was in school, there was a typing app that she loved. There were several reading apps, such as Sora, where she would read a whole bunch of books by going into the Clever portal that she has access from home to access. and then she'd access these, and then Brain Pop, and just a lot of really fun apps. But it's all very teacher dependent. So unfortunately, I can't talk to all of you about it because it will also depend on what apps your teacher is going to be using with that class. So, but you can get more of that information at curriculum night. So that'll be a great night for you to learn more specific information for your classroom teachers, programs and policies and plans. So important website. So other important websites include the before and after school care. A lot of the families have asked me about before and after school care, and the school does have a before and after school care um, at each elementary school, but very often there are wait lists for that have started. This is you can go and see if your school has a wait list, and it says here the date you submit your entry is the date you join our wait list. Okay, so then you can click here to join the wait list. Some schools might have some openings depending on the size of the school, but the most of the schools are most likely going to be full, especially now. Some of you might already be on the wait list. It is a really, really convenient program because the before and after school people come, especially in kindergarten and first grade, take your child at the end of the day, or the teacher will drop the kids off in the before and after school program. They have snacks, they have a lot of different things, and then the parent will pick them up. But it's very convenient, and that's one of the reasons why it is very, very popular. So that is one of the options. The other one for you to keep an eye out is community flyers called peach jars. So you might be receiving emails that are titled peach jars. I know the first time I started receiving them before I started in this job, I was like, what is that? But Peach Jar is the site where schools post a lot of different opportunities that might be available at the school. And these are the extra added ones because elementary schools do not have any clubs or sports. Some of them might have something like a running club, but not always, not even every year. But in general, most of the schools don't really have sports or clubs, especially sports. But sometimes certain organizations might come to the school to offer some kind of a program or music class or chess club at the elementary school. So, for example, Chess for All did a program at Sunset. So my daughter stayed after school and did chess, and then my husband picked her up just on that day. So it was just once a week for a period of like 8 weeks. So you cannot count on these programs as care. Okay. So sometimes people say, can they join a program and then they'll just go there? Not quite. And it also doesn't start right when school starts. It's usually a couple of weeks later, and it's usually 4 weeks or 8 weeks, different times. But if you're just interested in your child or joining some kind of after school program at school, or learn about what other programs are available, there are links to all of that here in this item called Peach Jar. And you also get emails from Peach Jar sent to your district, sent to the email from Family One and Family in Skyward Family Access. So for example, at Discovery, this is what the last peach jar looked like. If I can open it. There we go. So it shows you parent night out, Holly Street, bunch. Oh, back to school popsicle party. Here we go. So this one is for going to be probably on August 28th, 2 to 4. So, and this is Holly Street Playground, and this is only for the Holly Street Early Childhood Education students. So it has different programs posted over there. Let's see. And then special education. A parent asked me about special education. So if your child has an IEP, your IEP follows your child to school, and you will be able to communicate with your child's case manager to learn more about that. If you are confused right now and you have no idea what I'm talking about with IEP and case manager, that means your child doesn't have a learning disability. And so this most likely does not pertain to you. But if you think that your child does have a learning disability and you're interested in the special education program and you think your child might need services, please look at the site to see what that is and how you can get support from the special education program. And the liaisons and I are also happy to help with you getting more information. And then bulletins from the school. As I told you, you should all be getting them. If you do not get one by 6 o'clock tomorrow, if you're not getting one, if you did not get one on Monday by 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday from the Issaquah School District, please sign up for a weekly bulletin because honestly, a lot of the information from the school district is in the bulletins. Very little information is sent to you in paper flyers. So if you're waiting for a flyer or if you're waiting for something, you might miss information. So be sure to look for the bulletin. I make a point to read the bulletin every Monday and every Thursday just to make sure I'm not missing any information from my child's school, especially at the beginning of the school year or during transition times, during semester times. Bathrooms. So the teachers are amazing and they teach all the students how to use the bathroom and where the bathroom is at the beginning of the school year. They have different bathroom, how to visit the bathroom policies. Schools have a change of clothes in the nurse's office in case a student has an accident. Honestly, when I used to be a dean at an elementary school, the accident was usually they were playing in puddles in the playground and they were getting wet. But every now and then, there were also bathroom accidents. And in the nurse's office, the nurse will have a change of clothes for the family and then will notify the family of such an incident. Each classroom teacher teaches the students how to ask to go to the bathroom, where to find the bathroom, and sometimes if the child is new, they might have a bathroom buddy just to help with that. Teachers will also give you more information at the curriculum night or meet the teacher event. So the curriculum night, the meet the teacher event, if your child is really hesitant, you might also use that time to walk around campus and look at the school, especially if you're new and you've never been to that campus before. And if your child is a third, fourth, or fifth grader, sometimes they feel hesitant to ask because all their other friends know where everything is. So that would be a good time to do those things. Recess. For recess is super, super organized. When it's time for recess, the students will all line up, and the teachers usually have a number system of how the kids line up. So it's a very specific lineup. They line up, and then the teacher walks them to the playground. And then when they get to the playground, there are recess specialists, the paraprofessionals out there to supervise them. So you'll see in this photo that there's a woman wearing a vest and she's supervising the kids at the playground. So they're playground monitors. And so then they will play. And then a recess bell will ring and the students all have a specific location where they need to line up. And then they line up and then the teacher comes and collects them and walks them back to the classroom. Sometimes after recess is followed by lunch. When that happens, the recess teacher or the paraprofessional will then say, okay, come on in. And very often they'll have one line if they're buying a lunch, they'll go to the buy a lunch line. It's called a hot lunch line. Or if they brought lunch from home, not necessarily cold lunch, because some people have their food in the thermos, but the people who buy lunch from home, they will usually go in a different line, and the recess teacher will escort them into the lunchroom, where they will pick up their lunch from their teacher's carts, lunch carts. We'll talk more about lunches, and then they'll have a seat at their assigned lunch table to continue. So it's very, very organized, and then the students know exactly what the expectation is as they go into recess and lunch. School lunch. So school lunch, the students will, if they have brought their lunch from home, they drop their lunch in a cart. And that lunch, the cart is then taken to the lunchroom and left in the lunchroom right before lunch starts. Usually They'll go to recess, and one student will be assigned to walk the cart to the lunchroom and then go to recess. Or the teacher might drop the cart on their way to recess in the lunchroom, and then the kids go to recess. And then after recess, when they come into the lunchroom, they go to their teacher's cart, they get their lunch bag, and then they go to their table to eat lunch. The lunch bag, the teachers, so the time depends on the grade level. So usually they combine 2 grade levels per lunch. So sometimes it's going to be fourth and fifth grade eat lunch together, or maybe sometimes my children, it was kindergarten and fifth grade, first grade and fourth grade. So it depends on the school. They have grouped lunches by different grade levels, but it's going to be grade levels. And also all teachers from a certain class will sit at the same lunch table together. So you can see over here, there's a teacher name, O'Brien. So this table is for Miss O'Brien's students, or Mr. O'Brien. I'm not sure if that's a male or female. This table will be another teacher's classroom. So all the students will have their own set, own table for that class to have lunch. Now, the lunch information. The cost of lunch is about $4. If you need assistance with free and reduced lunch, you can apply for it. When you did EVP, you had an opportunity to do that. The thing I'm going to tell you is my daughter loved to go to the lunch menu because, while we made lunch for her, every now and then she'd get bored of our lunches and she'd be curious, if I do choose to buy lunch, Mommy, what are my options? So she soon learned how to figure out where her lunch menu was for the week. It looks like only, September is here too. And then she'd look at the lunch menu and say, oh, can I buy lunch on, let's say, September 19th, the Thursday, because I want to eat mac and cheese. So if your child is really curious about buying a lunch, this gives you and them an opportunity to see what the choices are. Now, when you look over here, you will see that there are M's next to certain options, and those are the options for meatless. So if your child doesn't eat meat, then they can have a yogurt lunch or a baked potato lunch. Every complete meal comes with milk and a salad bar and so forth. So if you can buy milk by itself. So if you want your child to drink milk, they can just go up to the lunch line and buy just milk. If they buy a lunch, they get the milk and the meal for $4. You can put money on your child's lunch account. If you go to the website again, there is a site. Go back. There's a site where you can, My School Bucks, and you can sign into My School Bucks and you can put money on there. So I usually just put about $30 or $40, and if your child doesn't use it and now they're in 12th grade, the money comes back to you. But I would put some money in just in case they forgot their lunch, or they just weren't in a mood to eat their lunch, or maybe they were super hungry and they wanted something, the lunch looked great. They had that opportunity to do it. You don't have to. I'm just saying this was my experience. So you can do that also. And you can find your student's lunch number in Family Access. So the day before school starts, if you want to write that down. But honestly, the first couple of weeks, the lunchroom ladies and the volunteers, they have several staff who are helping the children with their lunch number, and they write it down and they give it to them so that the lunch line goes faster. So they will get that lunch number. The teacher does help them with all of that. They have this down to a science. They have been helping students with lunches many, many times. But saying that, I will tell you that the first couple of days of school, I wouldn't recommend having a child buy a lunch. If it's free and reduced lunch and they have to, not a big deal. Just because sometimes the first couple of days of school, the lines can be a little bit long. So if you can at all send a lunch for the first couple of days, that will really be helpful. And then you can experiment with lunch maybe after a week or two at least after a week, so that the lunch line has become more normalized, because the first couple of days, so many kids are learning, and so it takes a while. Kindergarten especially, it takes a while for them to figure out the system. So the first couple of days in kindergarten, maybe a little sack lunch, and then go from there. Now, how to prepare for lunch and snack time. So this is important. Students usually have 2 snacks. So make sure you have snacks and their lunch, and make sure that students know to maybe not pack away the snack in the lunch cart, because if they drop it in the lunch cart too early and then the lunch cart is gone, but then they have a snack time, they might not have access to the snack. So maybe they just want a separate container just for the snack in their backpack, so they have access for it. Make sure you also have a water bottle. So, in their bag, you might want to put a lunch bag, which will go in the cart. You might want to have a water bottle and some snacks in certain containers for them. The lunch packed in a lunch bag, not in paper bags or plastic bag, because it just gets really destroyed as it's being moved and the kids are grabbing the lunch bags and so forth. Another big one, as a dean at an elementary school, the first couple of weeks of school, and sometimes even into the year, you would be surprised at how many kids would be raising their hand, waiting for an adult to come to them because they couldn't open their lunch. So if you're giving them a hot lunch, like something in a thermos, just note it's going to be vacuum sealed, and sometimes temperature changes. It's really hard for them to open it afterwards. So you might want to start practicing with them this week. Sweetie, here's your lunch. Now sit down and open your lunch. Eat your lunch and stay focused, sweetie. Stay focused. Eat and eat on your own. Because kids, especially in the lunchroom, sometimes get super distracted and they're looking all around. They're unpacking, they're looking, and they go home sometimes with half of their lunch not eaten, and parents get very concerned and frustrated. So one of the ways, and a tip for you to help your child get ready, is really encourage, especially if they're not used to eating by themselves in the kindergartners, start helping them eat on their own. And for you, a tip would be simple meals that they can eat easily, nothing too complex, so that they can focus on eating, because they sometimes get very distracted at lunch with all their friends around, lines. Sometimes there's some noise, especially in the beginning. So just those are all things to help them. If I were you, what we used to do with our children, it's up to you, but if at all possible, include a fork or spoon or a napkin in the lunch bag. It just makes life easier. This way they don't have to raise their hand, because usually they have to stay at their table unless a lunchroom lady allows them to step out and go somewhere else, just to minimize movement of students in the lunchroom. Very often the lunch ladies, the lunchroom monitors carry napkins and forks with them, but it just moves it a lot faster if they are very self-sustainable. They can open their own meal. They have access to their forks and spoons and napkins. All of that is happening. Also with the water bottle, make sure you have a filled water bottle so they're not running back and forth to get it, fill it up, especially one for lunch, or something to drink for lunchtime. Another big tip is to make sure your child's name and teacher name, when you get it, are on their lunch bag, because I'm sure you're not surprised, but many, many kids sometimes will lose their lunch or their water bottle and so forth. It makes it much easier to get it. And sometimes PTSAs will help with the lost and found items. And if names are on these items, they're very kind and sometimes will deliver to the classroom teacher so they can give it back to you. So those are all tips to help your child's lunch go more smoothly. And there are separate tables or spaces available for students who have allergies and need a separate seating area for their lunch. So sometimes the students with an allergy, we used to have a separate table, another area, or sometimes within the table. It's things that you would have to talk to your teacher. So definitely at Meet the Teacher, once you find a teacher who the child's teachers, email them and let them know about the allergy and work on what the system would be to keep your child safe. Also, I don't know if you noted, but on the menu that I had shared with you, there was a lot of information on here about allergens. And if you use the digital menu, it gives you filters by the common allergens and so forth. So there's more information over here. If you have a concern about meals, please feel free after the session to follow up with me, and I can answer any of your questions, or I can get you in contact with the district's food services if it's something specific that you're asking about. Transportation. Now, this is a big question also that many families ask. So right now, you are not going to be able to find your child's bus route. The bus route is usually not available until a couple of days before the school starts. But you know what? I haven't tested it in recent days, so let me see if I can find it. So you will go to the school's transportation, find your bus route. Usually there's a note that comes out saying bus routes are available on the website. So let's see what it says. Attention. So over here, you're going to look for your school bus route. Note, there are two links. One is for snow route information. So just in case the weather is really bad, you're going to go to snow route information. On a regular school day, your regular bus route will be over here. How do you log into your child's account? The username and password is all given to you right above the link. And your username is basically the first name, period, last name. And then your password is usually the child's birth date. And then you click on work with students, view your student, and then look, the bus routes are available for the students. So you will be able to look for your child's bus route right now. It looks like it is available for you. So again, your child's name and birthday is your username and password. But if your child lives within 1 mile of the school, you might not have a bus route available. So if it's not showing a bus route, that will be easily viewable because you won't have a bus route. If you disagree with if you qualify for one or not, you're welcome to call transportation, and transportation's number is on the website, or there's an email also available. Now, a big tip for all of you K parents, put a backpack tag so that when your child is going to the bus, the teacher's going to have a piece of paper with your child's bus number on it. So that's always there, but it always helps just to have that. Having your child's name on their backpack is always a good thing, and their teacher name also on their backpack, because sometimes, especially the first couple of days of school, kids come off the bus and they are frozen and they don't want to say their name or their teacher name. And so then we have to make sure we take them to the right teacher's line. The teachers are amazing. They always know who their students are, but it just makes it easier for the supervisors who help the kids walk off the bus and go to their teacher's lines, know where the child should go. If the child is nervous, scared, or doesn't know, cannot remember themselves because they're overwhelmed with a new environment. So when you look at your information, note that you're going to have a schedule for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for drop-off, but you will have a different time for Wednesday. So don't forget that, okay? You will also have an address for where your child will be taking the bus. So look for that address for whether your child will pick up the bus and where your child will be dropped off, and the times for all of that. So keep all of that in mind as you're looking at your transportation route. So as you're looking at that in the next couple of days, if you have any questions, feel free to call transportation. I can help you also if you need help, and you can send me an email, but you can also call transportation if you're unable to find your child's bus route. Next, school dismissal. So school will be dismissed. Students are not just going to run willy-nilly when the bell rings. It's not like in the movies, the bell rings and kids are scrambling out of school. All silliness does not happen in elementary schools. That's may happen in middle and high school. But in elementary schools, the teachers walk the kids out. And as they walk the kids out, they will drop off kids at different places. For example, depending on the route they take out of their classroom, the first stop might be the before and after school room where they'll leave the kids going there. If parents are picking up, they'll go to the zone where parents are waiting for pickup and they'll release the kids to the parents there. And then they might continue walking to the bus. And as they walk to the bus stop, they will drop the kids at the different buses. So it's bus 21, kids on bus 21, bus 22, kids who go on bus 22, and so forth. The teachers have a printout that says how your kids are going to be dismissed, if it's parent, if it's which is after school pickup, if it's before and after school care, and bus. And they also have a list of all the bus routes and what kids are on which bus route. And the teachers all have that information as school starts. So sometimes you as a parent may change your mind as to what you want your child to do. For example, the first 2 days of school, you may want to drive your child to school and pick them up. Just make sure your teacher knows your plan. At all times, the teacher wants to know what the plan is. And if you change the plan, you need to make sure you email the teacher and advise them what the dismissal plan is. Otherwise, they will follow what you have written as a regular dismissal plan. So for example, for me, my dismissal plan was my children were going to go on the bus. So if I ever decide to come and pick them up, let's surprise them and take them, I had to give the teacher a warning. Otherwise, they wouldn't have lined the kids up, or it's different. If somebody else is going to pick up your child, it needs to be on that list of approved people to drop your kids off with. Otherwise, the teacher will not release your child to someone not on the list that you've given permission for. So security is tight, and we need to make sure we're helping our teachers with the dismissal process. Okay. Also for kindergartners, if you're a kindergarten parent, please note that you have to meet the bus. If you are not at the bus stop, the bus will not let your child get off the bus. Okay. For first grade on up, it's different because parents usually sign off saying their child can walk home from the bus stop. It's nearby. But even if your bus stop is near your house, if you're a parent of a kindergartner, you have to meet your child at the bus stop. And then let's see what else. Kindergartners are also seated in the front of the bus. If there is a sibling on the bus, sometimes they'll allow for that. But usually they seat all the kindergartners. They're really adorable in the first couple of seats right by the bus driver. And that's just a safety precaution. Usually, by the way, the students start lining up and packing at least 5-10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes in kindergarten early to give the teacher enough time, because kindergartners sometimes move really slowly. And so giving them enough time to pack up everything, put their jackets on, line up, and then the teacher has to walk them all out. And those kids usually get on the bus before other kids and get everywhere before other kids, just to make sure that they are safe. So safety is huge. Schools have an amazing, amazing plan and system. The plans may vary a little bit between each school, but in general, our schools have an amazing plan on dismissal. So again, a reminder that parents need to let the office know if the dismissal procedure will change. Students may need a bus pass if they're taking a different bus or getting off at a different stop. Kindergarten parents have to be at the bus stop, as I said. Make sure you know you have the emergency transportation bulletin or have a snow route in case there's an emergency, a power outage. Be aware of those plans, and more information will come to you in October as we approach storm season or snow season. Check your bell schedule just so that you have it for sure. And also, a thing the bus drivers told me to remind all parents is be sure to stay at least 10 feet away from the bus door. Your child will come to you. Do not come to you. Do not try to get on the bus. The bus driver will be very annoyed. That is a safety violation. Also, do not cross behind the bus, but cross in front of the bus while the driver has the stop sign out. So after you've picked up your child, do not try to go home or walk to your house by walking behind the bus. The stop sign and the bar is out, so make sure you take your child in front of the bus, and then walk, and then until all the kids have moved away from the bus stop, then the bus driver will put the stop sign back, and knowing that the area around is safe, will drive away. So make sure you support the bus drivers in their rules. Bus drivers are also very strict so that we keep our kids safe on the school buses. Homework. Many parents asked about this, but honestly, most students don't have homework. Check with your school or your child's teacher. Usually, homework is reading. So usually the teacher will say read for 10 or 20 minutes. Some schools, some teachers may give homework, but the homework is really for practice. It's not graded. It's not expected. My child usually had optional homework for most of her elementary time. I would usually tell her it's not optional at our house, that she had to do it, but that's just a thing. So talk to your teacher, your child's teacher, to see what the expectation is. In general, kindergarten to second grade students are expected to read 10 or 20 minutes a day, and third to fifth graders, a suggested reading time for them is 30 to 45 minutes. So you'll see there's a lot of emphasis on reading, and they often might have some kind of math worksheet or page of math that they might bring home. Kindergarten, first grade, they might bring a packet that they have to be done by Friday and send home in their folders. But you'll get more details because every school is different. Every teacher might be slightly different in homework. But in general, don't be surprised if your child is not getting any homework. And in general, don't be surprised. It's not going to be for a grade. Tests and assessments. Now, the other hand, your child is going to have assessments very often. And I say very often, it's periodically, it's probably like every 3 or 4 weeks, but they're mainly truly assessments. And they are to understand the level the child is. It is not to, it is to evaluate the child's progress and figure out how the teacher can work in small groups to help the child. And those assessments, most often you will hear them called iReady assessments. Your child will do something called a Smarter Balanced assessment if they're in third, fourth, or fifth grade. When the Smarter Balanced is usually given in April, May, June. But the teachers, if they do give a test, they will review for the test and prepare for the test, and they will tell the kids, don't worry about it. You don't need to go home and study for the test. There's no preparing for the test. There's definitely a suggestion to parents that do not cram for the test, that everything you've learned, that we've done everything we need to prepare you for the test. So using the assessments, the students from the iReady especially, teachers really use that data to help better support the students. So it's important that when the students take these iReady tests, they're a really good indication or they're doing what they can do. So the teachers have that data to better help them. And I'm going to talk about it here. Okay, school behavior. So soft skills are taught at school. So please reinforce these skills at home. Very often around the school, you'll see signs saying, be aware of your space bubble, keep your noise level at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, hands and feet to yourself, walking feet. Honestly, as a child who did not grow up here, I did not know a lot of these words, but I found that in using some of this vocabulary at home, it reinforced those skills to my child, and it helped my child when, let's say, they were at a party or they were at a bounce house or we at a restaurant, keep your voice level down and like, what's your space, just to help them. And then it also reinforces what they're learning at school. So it it's very nice for the parent and teacher to be on the same page and supporting each other in what they're doing and how they're teaching their child. So how can you support your child? As I said, you can, one, reinforce the expectations with your child at home, especially regarding student behavior. I talked about the take home folder. So check the take home folder every day if possible, but if not, at least every Friday. There's usually paperwork in there on Fridays or notices or something, reminder. School teachers don't send paper information very often, but some teachers are sending, especially for the younger children, some kind of homework sheet or assessment response or something there. Label your child's school supplies as possible and as needed. You might want to talk to your child when they come home and say, hey, who did you play with at recess? What game did you play at recess? How was lunch? Did you eat my blah, blah, blah? Who did you sit with? Not grilling them, but how do you start a conversation without getting I don't know, maybe. So just guided questions to get some responses so you can better understand how your child's day went. If you have a kindergartner, first or second grade child, help them if they're new to stay focused and eat during a given lunch period because a lunch period is about 20, 30 minutes long. So look and see how long the lunch is at school and try to make sure that they are able to eat and stay focused during that time. Talk to them about walking in line, taking turns, sitting quietly. Those are some of the things the teacher is going to expect. And the teachers do a great job teaching students how to do these soft skills. Once you know about the school expectations, you might just kind of review some of them with your child if you think your child might need that reinforcement at home. And let your child know the difference in how they may behave at school versus at home. So I know I've worked with some families where the kids are very used to going up and hugging and being very physical with other kids on the playground. But at elementary schools in the Issaquah School District, physical contact is really not permitted because your child might like it, but we don't know if other kids like it. And even if you do, it's just a general thing because at that moment we're not sure. So let your child know that at school, really make sure you're not physical, hugging, touching, pushing too much. So really the hands and feet to yourself is very important. Otherwise, the teacher or the dean may have a conversation with your child, may talk to you and just ask you to help them remind your child about these things. And their voice level, how loud are they speaking? The teacher will also help you with that. There'll be posters in the classroom or the school about noise level. So those are things that you can help reinforce with your child. So next one is curriculum nights. I can't post all the curriculum nights on this site, but you should go to the school's website. I'm sure they have posted most of the curriculum nights. They will happen within the first 3 weeks of school. Curriculum night is a great time to learn and listen and understand what's happening in the classroom or what the teacher is going to be doing. It's mainly about classroom expectations, about upcoming events, volunteer opportunities, classroom routines. It's a good time to get some tips and information about what to expect from your child's teacher and in the classroom for the course of the school year. For example, is there going to be a field trip? Is there going to be some guest speakers? Like what is going on that year? Um, it's very general. There will be general questions about the school system. You can ask general questions about the school system at curriculum night. It's very important for you to realize that you are not going to be given an opportunity to ask specific questions about your child. So curriculum night is really about the teacher giving you information about the class. You can ask a general question. Will our class go on a field trip? Will our class go to blah, blah, blah? But you're not going to say, is my daughter going to, or is my son, how does my son, like specific things like that. You will probably have opportunities to sign up for snacks or volunteer opportunities in the classroom. Now, the school district has a website that has a curriculum information. So if you really want more, the teacher will give you curriculum information, also tell you what book they're using, what they're going to be doing. But honestly, I find this website very, very helpful because you can go to it and you can say, let's see, my child is a first grader. And as a first grader, this is what my child will be doing in reading, writing, math, science, social studies, health, music, PE, and library. So these are the elements that they will be working on in that curriculum. So for example, in math, in first grade, you can see what your child's math is going to look like, what is the adopted curriculum for math, okay, and gives you an overview, the learning experience goal, all of that information. So first semester, it'll tell you what they're going to be learning, second semester, trimester, third trimester. It's semesters now, but that information is over here for your child. So it kind of helps you understand a little bit more detail about what your child will be learning through the course of that year. So that's, if you're really curious about that for curriculum night, you can go visit that site and learn more information about it. Don't be surprised that your child doesn't have any textbooks. They have adopted a new reading curriculum. So you might see it looks like a magazine coming home. Same thing for math. It looks like a tiny magazine that might come home at the end of the unit, but it's not like middle and high school where they have big textbooks that they bring home. So teachers will talk more about how they will handle books, textbooks per se, at their curriculum night. Also, if you are interested in early literacy or dyslexia or highly capable, you'll also get more information on that site on the website. And you will get this link if you fill out the feedback form at the end of the session. So there's also something called a dual language program. If you're a kindergartner, you'll have seen the application for that. If you're interested in that, you can go to the website and see if they are, and you're new to the school, if they are accepting students. It's a Spanish immersion. Especially if your child is a native Spanish speaker, if you're interested in that. We talked about the SciTech program, science and technology. For many of these programs, there's an information session in February or March, especially for the highly capable program. If your child is MLL, multi-language learner, they will also have an additional teacher in the class to support them. Next one is the learning management system. So it's very hard for parents because we've never had that, but basically it's an online platform and they have put a lot of the different applications for students to have early, easy access to, so they don't have to keep on putting their passwords. So all the links to these different apps are there. They're all learning apps. Very often they use these apps in the classroom, especially if they have choice times in their classes. Teachers very often use a program called Seesaw, where they would share a lesson with the parents. Sometimes my child's teacher would take photos, or my child would do an activity, and the activity would be posted on Seesaw, so I could see what they were learning in class. So your teacher will talk a lot more about Clever and how they use the learning management system. It's an online platform. Your child will log into it. The teacher will teach your child how to do this. Technology is a huge part of what elementary school teachers teach in the class. And so they will teach them how to do all of this. So there's no concern that if they're new and they might be behind, the teacher will catch them all up on this. If you have any concern, that might be something to share in an email after curriculum night so that you know what the expectation is at curriculum night first. Classroom and school celebrations. One of the big differences in US classrooms, especially in ISD, is very often they have celebrations. They'll have Seahawk dress up day or crazy hair day or pajama day. So that's where, reading the teacher's newsletter or the Thursday bulletins, school bulletins are helpful so you can keep up, so you can help your child do what needs to be done when they go to school. In general, there's really no birthday celebrations. So the teacher may acknowledge the birthday, but really you're not sending balloons and flowers or, cupcakes or anything. Check with the student, the teacher, about how birthday is acknowledged and how celebrations acknowledged, or what celebrations the school might have or the teacher might be doing. And it's always okay for you to reach out to the teacher and ask these questions. So celebrations are an opportunity for our children to build community and have fun. And you're going to see different celebrations throughout the course of the year. So talk to your child's teacher about your culture too, to see if that's something that you can incorporate or share, and if there are opportunities for that through the course of the year. I know some teachers have done lessons on Lunar New Year, on Diwali or Holi, on different cultures. So let's find out what the teacher and how the teacher can work with families on these, if there is room for them to do that. Here are some examples of celebrations. Seahawk Day, then different days are over here. They all made this. Is probably for Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Health. So as your child starts school, please make sure your child has all the required immunizations. If your child does not have all, the nurse is currently checking all your paperwork. And if you don't have all the current immunizations, you will get a call or email from the health room specialist or the nurse about this information. If your child is sick, please keep them home, especially if they have a fever of 100 degrees within that 24-hour period. If they had vomiting or diarrhea within that 24-hour period, then they should be staying home. If your student has symptoms such as cough, sore throat, body aches, head chills, diarrhea, please make sure that you're keeping them home so they are not exposing other children at the school. If there's a concern at the school, your child will be sent to the health room. And at the health room, there's a school nurse and a health room paraprofessional. They're not a nurse, but they're just there to monitor and make sure the kids are healthy and safe, and to communicate with the parents if a child is sent to the health room. Safety. Our school buildings are very secure. Visitors need to be buzzed in. Students are always supervised. Students are released based on their contact information you as a parent gave during your registration or the EVP process. Students do something known as social and emotional learning. But one of the questions a parent asked is, how do they keep our children psychologically also safe? So they do social emotional learning at school, and you can ask your child's teacher more about that curriculum that the child will be doing. But if you do have a concern, or if there is an incident, do not hesitate to reach out to the teacher and or the classroom, the school principal or the assistant principal, whichever administrator at the school. And they'll be happy to help you. This is not something to be scared about. It is okay. We want to make sure we have a good interaction with our children, have good experiences and are safe at school. And finally, periodically, once a month, your child will tell you about some kind of drill that they did at school. Usually we do a drill every single month. There are different drills each month. Sometimes it's a lockdown, sometimes it's a fire drill, sometimes it's a hold drill. And so they're just different drills. Sometimes the fire department comes and does a little practice drill at the school, which is always exciting because they're on campus. So, but don't be afraid if you hear the fire department's on campus. Could be it's a drill. So there are many things students do. They have to prepare in case there's an emergency. So again, this goes with the schools being super prepared to ensure child safety. Communication. So weekly newsletters are going to come from the teacher usually on Sundays or Mondays. But you'll get weekly newsletters. You can check with your teacher how often they sent it. Emails from the teacher. Teachers may not email as frequently. It's usually the newsletter. It's general for everyone. But if the teacher does email you, you can also email the teacher, but that's for specific communication. School bulletins are great. Phone calls. Teachers usually do not make phone calls during class time because they're teaching. And so phone calls for teachers, it's sometimes really hard because you might end up playing phone tag because maybe they have meetings before school or what they're doing after school. So email is always the preferred way. And then you can put in your email, please let me know what time I can call you, what's the best time for us to chat or have a Zoom conversation. So, but I would always start with an email. If you have specific questions or unclear, again, the email is the best. And then make sure you're getting the school and district bulletin, and you're reading those bulletins. So this one is really important, and I'm not sure if you've gotten this before, but I know that I opt in to get these. And so when there is some kind of emergency, school closing, bus delay, I will get a text from the school to remind me about this. So when you get the slide deck, please make sure you visit this and you just type in 67587 and you just say yes to that number, and then you will be signed in to get this. And it is an opt-in, so if you don't opt in, you will not be signed up for it. So please opt in as much as possible. When to communicate, and you can opt in your spouse or significant others, grandparents, babysitters, all of these people, especially if people are picking them up from the bus on your approved list, should opt in just in case a bus is delayed, schools delayed in the morning, schools closed because of snow, all of those things, everyone will get the text to that number. When is the best time to communicate with the school? So please make sure you're communicating the school if you're going to be absent or the child is going to be leaving early or coming in late. Email the school. Here's the link for the Apollo, but note the email is on the bottom of the school's website. The big one is if you're changing how your child is going to be going home, because the teacher has the notes on where they're going to be dropping off the kids. So if you've changed that, the teacher needs to know that. If you have concerns about academics, or if you have concerns about social emotional issues going on, or if there's some kind of behavior problem that your child is experiencing with another kid or something that your child is going through, those are good times to talk to the teacher, or depending on a counselor maybe, or the school principal. Every single school has a school counselor. They're a full-time position. It's not a stigma for your child to talk to the school counselor or for you to reach out to the school counselor if your child needs social emotional support or helping them to grow into their personal best. I had a question from a parent saying, what do I need to do to make sure my child is ready for the future? This is maybe a conversation you have for the school counselor to help you and get some ideas on your path. The school counselors are also academic counselors and can guide you with some academic choices for your child and what's best and appropriate for them. So they're good ways to get information about your child. Next, parent volunteers. All parent volunteers need to complete an online application to be in the school building during school hours, especially in the classroom. So there's a classroom celebration, we're going to visit at recess, or there's an opportunity to visit at lunch. You have to have that permission, and it's a volunteer check. And so make sure you fill out the paperwork over there. You will have to submit a photo of your driver's license. Here's a volunteer application. And I'm going to tell you, it says volunteer, but sometimes parents are not volunteering. They're just attending school classroom function. So if you're there in the evening for an entire school spooky spaghetti or bingo night or something like that, no, you don't have to have that. But if the teacher is having a harvest festival get together and they've invited parents, you're going to need that. So if you want to go into the classroom, usually during school hours, into the school in certain rooms during school hours, recess, lunch, you need to have this volunteer application on file. Also, it gives you the opportunity to volunteer for other reasons on campus. PTSA has many volunteer opportunities for parents, and sometimes they're small as cutting things or filling out forms or typing up all the parents' emails to create a class list that can be sent out to families. So it can be simple tasks because the teachers cannot share, the parents have to release the information so the class can have that kind of a list. But you can also be a voice mentor for the school district. So we highly encourage families to volunteer for at least one activity. PTSA, if at all, please join our PTSA, or if you could, join it on Facebook. If you have social media, They publicize and they advertise a lot of information that sometimes you might miss. It's a photo day, don't forget. You can do this, like upcoming gingerbread house making or culture night coming up, and information like that. Opportunities for parents to engage with other parents or children to engage with other children in a social setting. So it's really great to join PTSA. It's a strong organization to build community. So education is free, but school students do need to buy supplies. If you need help buying supplies or getting supplies, please let the child's school office know. We have something known as Tools for Schools that have been donated by the ISF for families who are financial need. If your child is going to be in fourth grade and needs to have a recorder, they will have to buy it. And again, financial need, we can help with that. Yearbook is a PTSA thing, so it depends on the PTSA. Sometimes they are able to or may not, but check in if you need to buy a yearbook. For sure, if you want your child to have a yearbook, you should go to the PTSA website and sign up to buy one. Because very often at the end of the year, there aren't any yearbooks left, and it can be sad if the kids don't have one. Some kids don't care, so it depends on your child. But financial assistance is available and it's kept very confidential. So talk to your school counselor if you need help with any of the costs at the school. So we really strongly recommend that you participate as a parent in activities at school, just because the more the students see you as being part of the school organization and connection, it really helps build the child and help the child succeed. So students really, it's important for students to know that their parents are talking and engaging at the school or the teacher. We talked about special services, but if your child has asthma, diabetes, ADHD, ADD, it is possible that your child might qualify for a 504 plan. It's a plan to provide supports for your child for these reasons. That might be a reason to talk to a school counselor to see if that's something you should pursue. And again, it's called a 504 plan. It can also go for health reasons like hearing or vision issues, which is not a big concern, but maybe in 1 year they can't hear as well. And then again, IEP, if you think your child has special services needs for learning, which is an individualized learning, individualized education plan, please talk to your child's school counselor, and they would be the first step to trying to determine if your child needs to have an IEP. And very often, your child's pediatrician might also make suggestions on both of these for IEP or 504 if your child should have it, and what the pediatrician, a conversation with the pediatrician is also helpful for this. Family Access and Skyward, you've already used this multiple times already, probably for EVP and also to initially register your child for the school district. You will be going and using it again for your iReady scores and SBA periodically. They usually do iReady testing and post it 3 times a year, and those scores are emailed to you, and they're also posted on Family Access, so you can see all of this. Attendance history is also posted onto Family Access Skyward. Family liaisons, here are family liaisons. You will get all of this information, and it's also on our website. But one of the biggest things, we're at the end of our session, but one of the biggest things I want y'all to get out of the session is you are not alone. You're new to the school district. Sometimes it can be very scary and new, but I hope all of you see and hear that there are multiple supports for you as a parent and for your child. So if you have questions, if you need help, please reach out to someone, because starting a new school in a new area, in a new country, in a new state, you're going through so many things already, and it can be challenging. And you're going to be frustrated at times, but you have a group. Email me, email a liaison, we can help. So, and we are at the end of our presentation. Here's a QR code in case you want to do the survey. And if you do the survey, I will send you the slide deck. If you would not mind, I have not been looking at my chat. I don't see many questions in the chat. Okay, I have 3 questions, so I shall start addressing some of the questions in the chat, but I'm also going to put in the feedback form on the top of the chat. So those people who joined us late can see that, and then I will start addressing questions. And then Ina, you're also welcome to interrupt me and ask me questions from that parents may have asked you. I also printed out all your questions from the registration form, and I'm going to address a couple of them as I present. So I ordered school supply box. Does it have all the supplies needed except for backpack? It depends on if you ordered it through your PTSA for your exact classroom. So I am not sure if it's tailored to that grade level, because each grade level has a different set of supplies. So some grade levels have very specific items. So make sure that your school box is for your school, for your grade level, so that it contains all the items that you need. So family connections are the meetings, Ina reminded me, with the kindergarten teachers that you will be doing on August 29th, 30th, or September 3rd. Remember, you only have one meeting with the kindergarten teacher before your kindergarten child starts school. And it's basically to help your child better adapt and the teacher to better know your child needs so that they can have the best academic and social emotional success at school. Yes, so if you want the slide deck, please complete the feedback form. Otherwise, it'll be on the website by the end of next week. How do you submit a 504 to the school? Or yes, you're going to email the school counselor and say, my child has a 504 plan, and then they will work with that plan, and the school counselor will connect with you because they will have to review it, because the 504 plan is reviewed once a year. So it depends on where you are in that review cycle, will determine when they contact you, when they have the meeting with you, and also where you got the 504 plan. So the best thing to do is start with a conversation with your child's school counselor. For lunch, is there any food not allowed due to allergies like peanut butter and oats? I don't believe there is, because kids who do have allergies are usually asked to sit at a different area. Sometimes if it's something to really talk with your child's teacher about, because it may be very specific to a classroom or a school, depending on what's going on. But usually it's something to talk to the teacher about. I know that in the past, certain classes have not been allowed to have like peanut butter in that whole class. So again, this is something to talk to the child's teacher about. For how long is lunch in kindergarten? I believe it's about 20 or 30 minutes. When you go to your family connections meeting with your kindergarten teacher, you can ask them exactly how long the lunch is and what time to what time. Let's see. For the lottery program for SciTech, if you wouldn't mind, I'll add that link to the science magnet program before I email it to you all on Friday. So I will add that to the link to my presentation so you can get it. I did not see any notebooks required for K. Kindergartners really don't use too many notebooks or anything like that. So that's just not a thing for kindergarten. So it's okay. Don't be surprised. If you can't attend, meet the teacher, no worries. You can just have your child take the supplies the first day of school. If your child's in kindergarten, you can take the supplies to the kindergarten meeting when you have that meeting with the teacher. But otherwise, really, there's not much time between meet the teacher and the first day of school. So for students 1st through 5th grade, they're just going to take it in their backpack and drop it off the first day of school when they're in class. So when would the class teacher reach out to a new or current parents? I'm not quite sure how to answer that, because for kindergarten, there's the family connections meeting. But if you're in grade 1 through 5, There is no specific plan for the classroom teacher to reach out to you specifically. You will just get the newsletters, you would get the school bulletins, and then if you have a question, you can email the teacher to have a conversation or if you have questions about it. But parent-teacher conference is really the first time that it's a concrete plan to meet with teachers, for parents and teachers to meet. So if you are interested in the magnet programs, the science technology, you will have to check in with the school because most schools' magnet programs are full because again, it's a lottery system. And so if you miss the lottery, you will have to check and you can see the link on how to get that information. When do we get, oops, I lost something. When do we get to meet teachers before school starts at Clark? So again, August 28th is Meet the Teacher, and you can go to the Clark's website to see what time it is. You can also look for more information about Meet the Teacher tomorrow when you get the school bulletin. How will I know my grade 4 classroom teacher? A couple days before school starts, you'll get an email from the school bulletin tomorrow. Most likely we'll have it about exactly the day and time. It's most likely going to be Tuesday at 5 o'clock, next week, Tuesday at 5 o'clock, where you'll be able to go into Family Access and see who your classroom teacher is. They usually share that information the day before Meet the Teacher. Meet the Teacher is on August 28th, so you most likely will get this information on August 27th. So with the school supplies, you're going to take it in a bag to the classroom teacher's classroom, and the classroom teacher will direct you on what to do with those supplies. Are there things in the supply list, something I need to prepare for my child? Yes, so make sure you have all the items on the supply list before Meet the Teacher, and then you can take all of those items to school at the Meet the Teacher event. Your child will be carrying their own backpack and lunch bag to school, and honestly, besides the backpack and lunch, that's really the only thing, and the water bottle, really the only things the children take to school on a regular basis. And then the teacher will have a folder called a take-home folder that they might have in addition to that. So backpacks are pretty empty. It's usually in the backpack is the lunch and water, and then a folder that goes back and forth if there's any kind of homework that the child needs to do. You're not going to see any books or notebooks or anything like that in it. Sometimes children might carry, my daughter, by the time she got to 4th and 5th grade, she always carried 1 or 2 reading books because she loved to read. Is there a yearbook for kindergarten? Yes, yearbooks are for kindergarten through 5th grade. PTSA makes yearbooks. They're usually $20, $25, and you buy it through the PTSA website. There was a mention of play groups throughout the summer. We haven't heard anything from them or them about that. And so that is dependent on your PTSAs and the child's class. So sometimes a parent in that grade level organizes a play date for that group, and they usually meet at the playground at the school. So you could potentially see if you can reach out to the PTSA president at your school and just check, hey, is there a play group for my child who's in grade that, and see if there's that. Very often schools have a Facebook group for each grade level, and then they post it in that Facebook group. So I don't know if they would send it via email because those families don't have if someone's organizing a play group, they don't have access to your emails and they won't post that in the school emails. And so that's something that you would have to get through social media. And for example, for me, my children are at Sunset. I joined a Sunset, class of 26 graduation group and class of 2030 graduation group. And then at Sunset, a Sunset parent group. And then they would post teachers and play groups and stuff like that. There are a lot of events to keep in mind. Am I missing anything from the things below? Meet the Teacher, August 28th, one-on-one connections for kindergarten only, and curriculum night. Yes, those are the 3 main ones that you should look for your child. between August 28th and middle to end of September. Those are the three things that'll be coming up. Who or how to contact when the student is sick and not able to come to school. So for that, you will be again checking the school's website, and on the bottom of the school's website, you will see that you have every single school's website is exactly the same. The number to call, you can leave a voicemail. The attendance office, you can email the attendance office with all the details, mainly child's name, grade level, and what is wrong and why, the reason why you're basically keeping them at home. Also, you are asking because you're worried about dates. This upcoming calendar here is great for it. You can see August 28th. Oh, what a bad background. Meet the teacher, last names A through L. The 28th here, meet the teacher. And how do I make this picture go away? Let's go to a different school. Maybe they'll have a better background. There we go. There we go. So class assignments by 4 o'clock on the 27th, meet the teacher, 9:30 to 10:30, but it'll be a specific, oh, the whole school has a meet the teacher this time. It's a smaller school. Cascade Ridge is a bit small. Kindergarten curriculum night is on August 28th. This is only for Cascade Ridge, please note. And then curriculum night again is posted here. And this kindergarten curriculum night will be grades 1 through 5. So you can see this upcoming event section is very helpful. Each school's dates may vary, so keep that in mind. So don't, teacher assignments, again, the 27th, that's not surprising. Meet the teacher, the time is a little bit different. First day of school for students 1 through 5. And then you have the first day for kindergarten, September 4th. And then this school, Grand Ridge curriculum night, is on 2 different days. K2 is on the 18th from 5 to, oh, maybe it's 2 different times, 5 to 5:45. And then again on the 18th from 6 to 6:45 is 3 to 5. So a lot of information is on the website. School board meetings. Should we plan to attend it? That's totally up to you. Honestly, I've only been to like 5 board meetings, but I usually watch it sometimes on YouTube. They're very long, and sometimes there's great information, so I try to keep up on YouTube, but not attend in person because, it takes up a lot of time, and I can listen to it as background information. If you have something to say, definitely sign up to attend and say something, but it's up to you. Follow up on Family Connect. We have heard other schools in the district have their slots, but we haven't heard anything about it. Who's the best to contact? I would reach out to your child's school and just check and say, hey, I'm wondering, I would just want to make sure I haven't missed something. Have the Family Connections meeting been set for my kindergarten child? So it's for your kindergarten child, and just confirm. The school attendance people, the front office would be happy to answer that question for you. Okay, I am now going to stop recording, actually. I recorded this information on purpose because I know sometimes parents want these answers. So stop recording. Stop recording. Yes.